know?
Yes, I would like to address the Cuban ambassador regarding some of Fidel Castro's words a few months ago, where he said that socialism in Cuba wasn't working anymore for Cubans themselves. So, that's quite a statement, for a man that's leading a revolution. It's like, it's like in a couple of years, or in 2019, if Chavez is reelected, he comes up and says, well, socialism is not working for Venezuela. So what do you make out of that statement? Many people go on and say, well, it's the blockade, the blockade, well, we can't do anything. It's true that Cuba doesn't have the resources that probably Venezuela could have. It's true that Cuba is a very small island, but still, was it really socialism that didn't work? Was it the bureaucracy that got to be? What really happened then? What did Fidel Castro really mean by that?
We are absolutely socialists. Don't worry about it. What Fidel said has been taken out of context. If you can say, I mean, probably the man has been more strongly linked with the idea of social justice and socialism is Fidel. Then this has been absolutely out of context. We are making changes to make socialism more effective. And what you're thinking about, the fact that because of the lack of resources and this and that, then we can think that socialism is not feasible for Cuba, is absolutely nonsense. You can rely completely on the fact that we feel that socialism is the only solution for Cuba, for the whole world. They have been taken out of context. Then a phrase, you have read all the reflection of Fidel. I suppose you have heard all the speeches of Fidel. And then they took a small phrase, and then around the phrase, a lot of propaganda, promotion, etc. they have created. Fidel is a monument. The speeches of Fidel about revolution and socialism, are a lot. They covered the whole world. And then you cannot qualify, you cannot take conclusion about something when the phrase is taken out of context. We are making changes. We have to make socialism more efficient because socialism is an empty box. Venezuela is experimenting over the base that social justice is fundamental for our countries, and social justice and socialism is the same. And we are also trying to find a socialism that would work even better with more efficiency, despite the blockade. That is also a monument of oppression and limitation, etc. Despite the blockade, we are trying to develop the country, and we are trying to do our best. Let's say the blockade make a ceiling, and there is a space we can cover with more efficiency, but over the base of socialism. That you shouldn't be worried about what Raúl is doing, what we are doing about socialism. And in the case of Fidel, please, you can say this phrase in 2 seconds, but try to make a resume on Fidel ideas and speeches during his whole life, before the revolution until now, and you'll know that he's completely committed with socialism, and with social ideas and social justice. Then don't worry about it.
I just wanted to add that imagine that a people, a country, its population has been following a man's idea for 50 years. And all of a sudden somebody says that he said socialism doesn't work for Cuba. And even after having said that the man said so, these very same people still following and marching behind that man, trying to make it socialism better, trying to continue being internationalist, offering services to the whole humanity, trying to be better. So it's really nonsense to think that Fidel could have said something like that. Because if he has said something like that, first of all, nobody would believe it. Because it's been so clear, he's been so forceful in telling us that socialism is the way, that nobody would believe that that is not the case. It's true that we have problems. It's true that we have bureaucracy. It's true that we've made some mistakes economically, but socially, I don't think anybody, no matter where you can look in the world, has achieved what we have achieved socially. A country that, as you rightly say, has no resources, but having nothing, we have given a lot. And not what we have extra, but what we have for ourselves. And Cuba continues to do that. And Cuba continues to build socialism, improving it. If you want to call it tropical socialism, it's okay. If you want to call it Caribbean socialism, it's okay. But it works for us. And we are very happy with it. And we don't intend to change it. And whoever tried to take Fidel's words out of context, I believe true revolutionary will really understand and will really, true revolutionaries cannot believe that Fidel said that. If for any second in their lives they knew what Fidel thought and what Fidel did for humanity as a whole.
Just one clarification. I just wrote an article about the Cuban model, and based on this idea, Fidel didn't say in that interview that socialism doesn't work. He was asked, are you exporting the Cuban model? And he said, the Cuban model doesn't even work for us. Now there's two things in that. The response to the question was that we don't export the Cuban practice. And the second was, we don't have a model. We are prepared to change our model. So there were two ideas in there.
After the words of the ambassador, the council, also our friend 10 years to go further with this. But as a Cuban, being educated in our society, knowing the historical leader Fidel is, for sure, if he had the idea, he could never betray the ideas of any revolution. Do not forget that not only for the Latin American, but also for the world, Cuba has been sent to be the lighthouse, like it is Venezuela at present. Very, very proud of that. But even though, if he considered that something had to be not changed, I would never use the word change, but really at least to better that situation, all the people who might read the concept of revolution Fidel has given, when it says revolution is a sense of a historical moment, is to change whatever needs to be changed, would really understand what Fidel said in that. We really approve exactly what my good friend Tim Anderson said. So we never had a manual, we never had a model to prepare our socialism. So that's why day after day we have to look for the way to better that. And it's very important for us, which all of the people sharing here, I assume that are supporting Cuba, they are supporting Venezuela, get very clear of that, not to get manipulated. Because sometimes when they get, the words out of context, you can misunderstand whatever they are saying. But for sure, my friend, I know you support Cuba, for sure. The ideas of revolution will never be betrayed, and will continue to be socialist. It is stated in our constitution, and not only because it's stated that, it's because it's the will of the Cuban people who have been educated just with blood and sweat just to get the achievement we have got up to now.
Thank you very much to give me the opportunity to speak. Maybe I am the only representative of African people here. Do you have some African here?
We are African all.
Yeah. African friends.
Okay, thank you very much. I will be brief. Personally, I believe in Fidel Castro in Cuba, and I believe in Venezuela action. And I believe that if Cuba and Venezuela could have the model, and many people can follow this model, it's number one. And as African, I believe that in my country, the Democratic Republic of Congo, we have celebrated lastly 50 years after independence. But we believe that the capitalism have failed in Congo. The only model which can save the population in Congo is the socialism. Congo is a very big country in the center of Africa. We have all resources in Congo to make this country the biggest in the world. But because of the imperialism, because of the colonialism, they would like to put us at the queue of the nations. Many things are going worse in Congo. Can you believe that recently even the imperialist America and France would like to put the president of Rwanda to rule in Congo? It's not possible. It's not possible. So I believe that with your support, we can be together to extend the socialism in the world, especially in Africa. Africa needs the socialism to be liberated. So we need your support. So it's what.
Al compañero venezolano, en español me queda más.
Yeah, these are a question directed to the Venezuelan comrade. I would rather say it in Spanish, it's a bit easier.
Como colombiano que soy
As a Colombian
y simpatizante de la revolución venezolana,
and also as a sympathizer of the Venezuelan revolution,
he visto con mucha satisfacción que se haya relajado la tensión entre Venezuela y Colombia.
I'm very satisfied that the relationship between Colombia and Venezuela has started to ease a bit.
Y creo que es muy importante arrebatarle terreno al imperialismo,
And I think it's very important to make it very clear to imperialism
no dar lugar a que use la reacción colombiana y el territorio colombiano
And make a
para
break.
agredir a Venezuela.
and make it very clear to imperialism that they should not use the territory of Colombia to attack Venezuela.
Me gustaría que ese proceso de relajamiento continúe.
And I would very
Se
much
consolide.
appreciate and like that the relationship between Colombia and Venezuela continues to ease.
Con respecto a lo que está sucediendo en el norte de África, lo
in
hemos
respect-
visto por acá también,
In respect to what is happening in Northern Africa,
de que una situación muy similar se podría dar con Venezuela, como la nota el compañero.
a very similar situation could potentially happen also in Venezuela, as a comrade mentioned.
Con un agravante que causa extrañeza y vergüenza al mismo tiempo, que tanto Rusia como China no hayan vetado la resolución en el Consejo de Seguridad que ha dado lugar precisamente a la agresión
And it's
contra
particularly
Libia.
important to note the terrible position or very disgusting position of China and Russia in not vetoing the resolution, the United Nations resolution that helped, which meant that the Libyan people were attacked by the Western powers.
Y que eso nos llama a mantenernos alerta también ante una nueva
And
situación.
it also makes it very clear to us that we have to be alert of any future situations.
Lo fundamental que defiende nuestro gobierno
The fundamental thing that our government defends,
es la defensa a la soberanía
the most important thing for us is that we defend the right to national sovereignty.
de cada país.
That is the right of every country to national sovereignty.
Yo creo que nosotros no podemos estar inmiscuyéndonos en las decisiones de otros pueblos.
That is that we can't necessarily comment on or talk about all the different positions of the different people around the world.
Y uno de los grandes daños que hace al mundo
And one of the biggest problems that can be created in the world
es los medios de comunicación
is by the mass media
que presentan y crean imágenes y construyen y deforman
And that is that
a cualquier persona.
the media a lot of times can confuse and also manipulate and manipulate the image of a number of people.
¿No? Gaddafi es presentado, ¿no? Como o el malvado del desierto.
That is Gaddafi is presented as sort of the
demon of the desert.
the devil of the desert.
¿No? Fidel Castro es el destructor de la humanidad.
And Fidel Castro is the destructor of all of humanity.
¿No? Chávez, ¿no? Es el enemigo número uno del imperio.
And Chavez is the number one enemy of imperialism.
Y eso es todos los días la BBC, CNN,
And that is something that BBC,
la ABC,
CNN, ABC continue to pull forward.
The Australian,
And also the Australian.
¿no? De los medios de comunicación en Venezuela
And so the means of communication in Venezuela,
fueron los que promovieron el golpe de Estado.
they're the ones who promoted the military coup.
Yo he estado 2 veces en Libia
One thing which I particularly wanted to say that I've been in Libya twice.
y yo estuve participando en eventos académicos
I
en
was
Libia.
participating in academic events in Libya.
Una vez en el año 83,
Once in 1983,
que se hizo un gran evento internacional en la discusión sobre los postulados del libro verde.
and there was a large international conference of people who were supporting the Green Book.
Y la popularidad y el bienestar del pueblo libio
And the social conditions of the Libyan people
realmente en esa época eran altamente satisfactorios.
at that time were very high.
Y después volví a ir en el 2004.
But then I went back in 2004.
Y en esa época ya no fui un evento académico, sino que fui invitado conjuntamente con otras personas para reunirnos con los comités populares de la revolución.
And I went back and I didn't actually meet with academic organizations, but I participated in meetings with people who were organizing in community organizations.
Y cuando ellos nos hablaron y nos explicaron la organización social de los barrios, de las ciudades,
And when they explained the social conditions and social organization of the suburbs or of the different cities,
era una real democracia,
it was clear that it was a democracy.
¿no? La democracia no es el modelo que nos ha enseñado, que es la de los Estados Unidos.
That is, that democracy is not the sort of model that we are taught. That is one which is very similar to the United States.
Cuando hay los primeros ataques militares a Libia,
And so when there is the first military attacks on Libya,
nuestro gran premio Nobel de este milenio,
the great Nobel Peace Prize winner of this millennium,
el señor Obama,
that is Mr. Obama.
y cuando hay los primeros muertos y ataques,
And so when the first people who were killed by the attacks,
dice Obama, así es como debe funcionar el mundo.
Obama says that's how the world should function.
Es decir, a la visión de ellos.
That is their vision.
No hay un modelo de democracia,
There isn't one model of democracy,
como no hay un modelo de socialismo.
as there isn't one model
No.
of socialism.
Entonces no hay autoridad para decir esto no es democracia.
And so we don't have the authority to say that this is not democracy.
Nosotros tenemos un modelo de democracia totalmente distinto, por lo menos en Venezuela.
We have one model of democracy which is very different, and that is the model that we have in Venezuela.
Nosotros no somos una democracia representativa.
We are not a representative democracy.
Nosotros somos una democracia
We
participativa,
are participatory democracy,
donde el pueblo participa y toma las
where
decisiones.
the people participate and make decisions.
Y las decisiones en Libia era la tesis y la democracia directa.
And so the democracy in Libya was one of direct democracy.
Y eso se aplicaba en toda la sociedad
And
libia.
that was applied in society.
Los problemas en en Libia no es si había o no democracia, es un problema de recursos
That is that the
naturales.
problem in Libya is not one of democracy, it's one due to the natural resources.
Desde hace muchos años el Pentágono tiene un plan,
That is, for many years, the Pentagon has had a plan,
que es el Plan 2020,
which is the Plan 2020.
que para el año, esta etapa de los años 2000,
And so that is a plan that throughout this whole first 20 years of this century,
Estados Unidos debe hacerse dueño de todos los recursos
that
naturales de la
the United
humanidad,
States wants to become the owners of all the natural resources throughout the world.
sin importarle el ser humano para nada.
And based on that, they don't take into consideration the rights of all of humanity.
Si eso lleva a destruir países, destruir
So
ciudades,
it means destroying countries, destroying cities,
asesinar niños,
kill children.
no importaría.
They don't care about
Para ellos
that.
no les importa
They
eso.
don't care.
Lo que necesitan son los recursos para su
All they worry about
sobrevivencia.
is the resources so they can survive.
Si Fidel Castro saliera diciendo que Obama es un gran presidente,
If Fidel Castro came out and said that Obama was a great president,
Fidel Castro sería un gran hombre
then Fidel Castro would be a great
y
man.
fuera invitado a la Casa
Then he
Blanca.
probably would be invited to the White House.
Si Chávez dijera que los Estados Unidos es el mejor país del mundo
If Chavez said that if he said that the United States was the best country in the world,
y apoyara y mandara fuerzas a la coalición,
and if he sent forces and participated in the coalition,
Chávez sería un buen presidente.
then Chavez probably would be a very good
Entonces
president.
depende que quién actúa y cuál es la visión que se nos da.
So it's all dependent on which way they act.
Y por eso nosotros creemos que lo más importante es respetar la soberanía de los
And
pueblos.
so for us, I think the most important thing is to respect national sovereignty of the countries.
Pero ya sabemos que los Estados Unidos no respetan soberanía.
But we know the United States doesn't support that sovereignty.
I agree completely with Nelson, completely, absolutely.